welcome on in on air with Chris Shanafel. It is officially draft week, and with that, it is my pleasure to continue the Player Spotlight show. This will be our final prospect interview for the 2025 NFL draft season, and with that, it's a pleasure to welcome onto the show Iraken Armstead, the outside linebacker, edge rusher out of Eastern Illinois University. Ira, I know it's been a very busy few months for you leading up to this moment. I appreciate you taking some time this afternoon. You have to be very excited that this week is finally here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely, man. The pleasure is all mine. And you really have an incredible journey. I look forward to diving into that with you. But first, with the draft being right around the corner, I want to start off by talking about the recent events. You really created a lot of buzz for yourself here over the last month or so, specifically at the Northwestern Pro Day. Looking at some of those numbers, you measured in at 6'4", 240 pounds. You ran a 4.6 40-yard dash, 7.253 cone to go with a 35-inch vertical jump, 10'4" broad jump, and 21 reps of 225 pounds on the bench press. I mean, what was the whole pro day process like for you? Where were you training at? And now looking back, how do you feel about those numbers that you put up for what I got to think at least 30, if not all 32 NFL teams? I know Northwestern usually draws in a pretty good crowd there.
Yeah. Yeah. So the process started, I got a call from my agent and he told me that, him and his partner, they basically run their own training. So I went down to Mesa, Arizona, and was training out there. And that whole process went really well. It was a good 2 months of just straight work, eat, sleep, recovery, being a true professional at that time. So, I mean, it went pretty well. The training and everything was it was awesome. So that was good. And then how I feel about the numbers is just I feel like there's a little bit more meat left on the bone that I could have showcased, but I feel really good with my numbers that I did put up. So I mean, I feel that the teams that were there, I put out the best that I could, and I got some good feedback for it.
Well, and I know I've been to the Northwestern Pro Day a handful of times. I know that at these bigger pro days, if you're coming in from a smaller school or if you're just not an alum, which obviously you're not a Northwestern alum, I know a lot of guys, specifically from like the smaller schools in the area, you basically have to turn heads with a good 40-yard dash time, or they'll start sending guys home right after that. If they're not impressed with the 40-yard dash, that could be the end of their workout for a lot of guys. I mean, I assume that's probably how it went. I know that's how it went in years past. I mean, did that work your nerves at all, Ira? I mean, did it give you any added motivation to clock a good time in which you did with that 4.62?
Yeah, that was one of the first things that we were told was that if you don't run a good 40 time, then you're basically cut. So I mean, we knew that going in, and it I kind of wasn't too worried about it because I know the type of speed that I do have, but at the same time, you just never know. So I mean, yeah, it definitely motivated me, and it was kind of just lingering in the back of my mind that I can't be slacking or anything like that. It's time to when I go in there, it's my time to shine. I have to ball out.
And that's exactly what you did. Just last week, I know NFL reporter Aaron Wilson had it out on Twitter a few days ago now that the Miami Dolphins, Indianapolis Colts, and the Chicago Bears have all expressed some type of interest. What's the feedback been like though since then? I mean, have you heard from any other teams that you can add to that list that have reached out to you? Do you feel comfortable in naming that? If not, no problem. But what's just been the general consensus? What's some of the feedback you've been getting from some of these teams that are now expressing interest?
Really just trying to get to know me as a person, seeing how I am, if I'm, doing the right things, like doing what I need to be doing and stuff like that. And there are a lot of other teams like I've spoken with or had interest with, like Cowboys, with the Broncos, with the Browns and the Jets as well. So, I mean, it's truly just a blessing. So
Again, we're chatting with 2025 NFL draft prospect, defensive end, outside linebacker out of Eastern Illinois University, Ira Armstead. And Ira, you've always been a talented athlete. Talking now more about your journey leading up to this point. I mean, coming out of John Adams High School in South Bend, Indiana, you're one of the top players in the state. But at this time, you weren't a pass rusher. You weren't even playing on the defensive side of the football. You were a star quarterback and actually began your collegiate career at the University of Virginia, playing the quarterback position. Can you just talk about the decision, or actually, excuse me, can you just shed light on those quarterback days of yours at the University of Virginia, and then talk about the decision to transfer to Eastern Illinois after spending a couple of years at UVA?
Yeah. So, I mean, just in high school, I knew that with just my playing style and everything, there were other college teams who would see me as like a different, like a receiver or a safety, or some spots wanted me as. But I knew that I wanted to just continue to play quarterback in college. So Virginia came, and that's what they were interested in me in doing. So I went there, and being there was awesome. Coach Beck and Coach Mendenhall really trusted in me and knew that I could be like a Bryce Perkins, who was the QB there before me, and just had me develop. So, I mean, also being their philosophy is kind of different. They didn't call quarterbacks. They called them quarterbacks, meaning that they're like basically like superheroes, that they do everything for the team. So I was out there, learning the offense, playing tight end, running back, receiver, stuff like that, just use my athletic ability to the best that they can. And so, I mean, it was awesome, but I also was developing into a college quarterback at the same time. And then for me to transfer, it kind of gotten to a point where the starter at the time, Brennan Armstrong, he was coming back for another year, and I was going into my junior year. So it was kind of like, we got to put our best athletes on the field. Like, do you want to play DB? And I was like, nah, I'm still trying to work on playing quarterback. So I decided to transfer, ended up at Eastern Illinois, and was there for probably a semester until I asked Coach Wilkerson if I could switch positions.
And yeah, so going from there, so you go to Eastern Illinois, you're still planning on playing quarterback initially. When did the wheels start turning on making the transition to the defensive side of the ball? How did you decide that that was going to be where you're going to have the most success at if you were to change positions? And how did all that ultimately go down?
Yeah, actually, the crazy thing is that I really didn't have a choice in going to the defensive side. I went from quarterback to receiver for like 2 months. And then like the fourth game into the season, we were lacking depth on defense at playing corner. So my coach was like, hey, like, we need you. We need someone to put there that he trusts. So I ended up playing corner for the rest of that season. And it just, as time went on during the off seasons, I just kept growing and getting stronger. Like, I was gaining like 10 pounds. And so they just kept moving me closer and closer and closer to the ball from that point on.
That's just incredible, playing Division I football, and you have multiple positions under your belt, starting with quarterback, like you said, some defensive back, and then ultimately ending there on the edge. I mean, what who are some of the guys that you like to study now as you are preparing to make it to the next level? Who are some guys that you like to study and maybe take some bits and pieces of their game and maybe add it to your own repertoire?
Yeah. So some of the greats, of course, I have to go Lawrence Taylor, just the same body frame that me and him have, and just also his mentality, like just coming off that edge, like he was relentless. I do like to study Von Miller as well, just his rush, his ghost rush, just everything about him. Like he's my GOAT in my opinion. So him as well. I also like to look at just off the ball linebackers as well. So I'll watch like Ray Lewis. I love watching him. I love watching Fred Warner. We're the same body type as well. And I also like watching Isaiah Simmons, because me and him, I feel like, are literally like picture perfect and like just side to side. So yeah, those are the guys that come to mind at the moment.
And you know, I obviously down below, and I've been saying it, defensive end, outside linebacker. Are there some teams that might be looking at you, maybe at inside linebacker or maybe even defensive back? Is that a possibility?
It could be. I'm training like I'm whatever a team needs. So like if they need me as a DB, if they need me as a linebacker on the edge, whatever they need. So that's kind of how I've been going with my training. So whatever they need, I'll be ready to provide for it.
Few more questions for the former Virginia Cavalier turned Eastern Illinois Panther, Ira Armstead, 2025 NFL draft prospect. The NFL draft is right around the corner, starting this Thursday night, going into the weekend. Ira, does having the quarterback background, I mean, I got to think in some way, shape, or form that has to help you a little bit now playing on the defensive side of the ball. Do you see yourself on defense, putting yourself in the opposing team's quarterback shoes, and are you able to like capitalize on a play or kind of get an idea of what they're thinking just based off of your history at the quarterback position?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I know that there are times where I would be playing in our defense. It would be called the Fox position, which is basically in a 4-2-5 defense. It's that nickel guy. So I'll be out there, and I'm the one that's always in conflict. So I know at times, like if we're facing like a heavy RPO team, like I would really either have to sell like I'm playing outside leverage, but so as soon as the ball snap inside, so to where they know like to where they think they have like a slant window or anything like that, but then I shift and I take that away, or just like showing blitz and then backing out of it, or even just sitting there and then as soon as the ball snap go, like what I'm saying, stuff like that. Just like little nuances to like if I were to put myself in the quarterback's shoes, that I would be like, okay, this is what I'm getting pre-snap. And the snap comes, oh snap, it's shifted away. So it's just little stuff like that.
That's awesome. I love to hear. That's awesome. I mean, again, I gotta think that again, in some way, shape, or form, that has to help you out in certain situations. What would you say is the biggest strength of yours? Is I'll say usually I give the person's position, but just as a football player, what would you say is your biggest strength that you would bring to a team?
I would honestly say my IQ is my biggest strength just by playing quarterback and defense. I feel like just my football knowledge in general is really good. And then besides that, just the type of person I am. I feel like there's nothing that can stop me but me. And I am also my biggest critic. So like if like if I'm doing too well, I won't be too high on myself, and if I'm doing too bad, I won't be too low at the same time. And then really just my raw athletic ability. Like if whatever a team needs, I'm willing to put my body on the line for the team, whatever it takes for us to win and get a championship, get a Super Bowl. So yeah.
That's ultimate. That's the ultimate goal, obviously. What would you say is your most memorable player moment you're able to experience in your collegiate career? It could be going back to your UVA days. It could be at Eastern Illinois. Is there a specific moment that stands out?
I'll have to say my first touchdown my freshman year against Wake Forest. That was definitely memorable. And then I would have to say my first sack at Eastern Illinois. Both first, and you never forget the first. But yeah, both of those moments really like those are moments that I'll never forget.
And then just in general, obviously, I gotta think anyone that puts the football helmet on at the college level, I gotta think 99% of their dream is to hopefully play professionally. When for you did it really click, and did you think that you had a legit shot at getting a chance in the NFL? And here we are now, just days away from the NFL draft. I mean, when did it hit you that you had a legit shot at least pursuing this career?
Uh, I mean, I've always, like you said, everybody does have the dream, and I've been working really, really hard for it. And I'll say it didn't really hit until last season where I started to get little interest and stuff. And my coach would tell me, like, hey, like these teams are talking about you, like just keep doing what you're doing. I'm like, okay, now I have to really turn it up and, really hone in on my skills and everything. So I feel like last year was really the year where it was like, okay, now I really see myself doing this. I know I can do this.
And then I wrap up all of my prospect interviews with this question, Ira. Let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers. They're listening to this very interview. Why should they want Ira Armstead out of Eastern Illinois a part of their team?
I would say because I am more than a football player, you were bringing in a person who's not just a football player, but also just a great person. Like, I am looking for the best interest of my teammates. I'm always on myself. I'm not worried about anything outside, nothing like that. But also just my raw ability. Like, I'm willing to do anything for the team and develop, even if that's just playing special teams and doing all the dirty work and stuff, and just letting me develop into outside linebacker, wherever you want me at. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
Do you have any draft plans this weekend? Or are you having a party? Are you going out watching it? Are you going to stay away from the phone?
I'm really just chilling with the fiance, just
There you go.
chilling with our dogs and maybe go bowling or something like that, So, yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, congrats on even making it this far. Obviously, I know this isn't the ultimate end goal, and I'm really excited to see how this weekend plays out for you. Certainly wishing you all the best and really appreciate you taking the time today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, there he goes. That is the pass rusher, the athlete out of Eastern Illinois, Ira Armstead. And again, just a hell of a football journey for him, and really looking forward to seeing how this weekend plays out for him. I mean, again, Bengals, Bears, Colts, among other teams showing interest in him and could use his talents, certainly on the defensive side of the football and on special teams as well. So, again, best of luck to Ira Armstead this week. And that'll wrap it up for the prospect interviews for this draft season. If you missed any of them, go ahead, check out ChristianShanfeld.com, or, of course, probably easier to go find it on YouTube. Just search On Air with Chris Shanfeld, and you'll be able to find those there. So, again, much appreciated to Ira Armstead for joining the show today, just days before the 2025 NFL Draft. Hope everybody enjoyed that interview. And until next time, stay tuned.